Hi everyone, welcome to Rachel Pichler Yoga. My name is Rachel. Today is Flexible Friday, and so we're going to be stretching out our back. So not only we're just stretching our back, but we're actually going to help relieve any back pain that we may already be having, or just prevent some from coming on from whatever else we do in our daily lives. So if that sounds good to you, find a bit of space. Let's get started, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. All right, you guys, we're going to start laying down today so you can find your way onto your back. Start to bring your knees in towards your chest a little bit, or you can keep the feet planted. But we're just going to massage the low back and the spine a little bit here. So you're just going to rock side to side. You can close your eyes if they're still open. Just starting to feel your breath. Just giving your body a little bit of movement side to side. And then when you're ready, you can start to move this forwards and backwards. So start rocking forwards and backwards a little bit. So you can make these rocks as little as you would like, but I want you to imagine your entire spine is rolling on the mat. So all the way from the low back to the mid to the upper back, and just kind of start rocking. And if you'd like to make these rocks really big, you can pretty much come all the way up to seated and then gracefully go back down and just keep massaging the spine. So all the while that you're rocking, just feeling your breath. This is kind of fun, you guys. So we're going to come all the way up to seated eventually. So if you want to rock forwards a few more times, just get a little bit momentum to come all the way up and to stay up. But once you get up, we're going to find a comfy seated position. So you can sit cross-legged. Hands are going to find our knees, and we're just going to do a little bit of seated cat and cow. I don't know what my hair is doing now, but take your hands and place them on your knees, and then you're just going to start to bring your belly forward and open up the chest. So squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you and lift the chin up a little bit. Taking another breath in, and exhale to round the upper back. Tucking the chin to the collarbone, squeeze your belly button towards your spine. And with an inhale, start to send the belly forward, the chest forward, pulling the shoulders back. Holding it here, take another breath in. And exhale to round through the upper back, drawing the chin down. Awesome work, you guys. We're going to do one more each way. So inhale. Coming forward, opening up, and exhale to round. And slowly coming back to sit up nice and tall, keeping your hands on your knees. We're just going to twist over to the left side. So start to turn your upper body facing the left. You can bring your right hand to your knee, your left hand behind you, but just hold the twist. Sit up a little bit taller. And exhale. Take one more inhale. And exhale, twist. Starting to turn yourself back to the middle. And over to the other side. Holding that twist. Breathe. And taking another breath in. And exhale. One more inhale and exhale. Awesome work, you guys. Turning yourself back to face the front. We're going to come onto our hands and our knees now. So from your hands and from your knees, we're going to lift up into downward facing dog. So just tuck your toes underneath. Lift the hips up. Keep your hands about shoulder width apart. Your feet are about hip width apart. And I want you to think about bringing as much length to your spine as you possibly can. So don't worry about your legs. Bending your knees here. Let your head just drop between your arms, and then imagine you're trying to send your hips up towards the ceiling a little bit more. But again, keep the knees bent, and imagine your spine is just really nice and long here. Awesome work, you guys. So bend those knees a little bit more. See if you can lengthen through the spine as you push into your palms. And with your next breath in, start to look to the top of your mat. And exhale, walk your feet up nice and slowly all the way up. So your feet could be together or hip width apart. We're going to bend our knees. And you're going to try to rest your upper body on your knees or on your thighs. So from here, you guys, once you're making contact with your legs, so bend them as much as you need to make a little shelf for your chest, you're just going to let your head be nice and heavy. Your arms could dangle down. They could hang on to opposite. Your hands could grab opposite elbows, but we'll just fold forward here. And just feeling your breath, and as you would like to maybe bring a bit more length to your legs, I want you to keep your chest and your tummy making contact with your thighs. So you can straighten the legs a little bit and then bend them again and just get a little bit of movement through those legs. Maybe feeling this in your hamstrings as well. And just checking that you're letting your head be nice and heavy. And if these little movements of the leg don't feel good, just stay nice and still. Awesome, you guys. Bring your hands back to the floor. We're going to walk our feet all the way back onto our mat. Downward facing dog. Just another breath here, lengthening through the spine. And with an inhale, you're going to look between your hands again, and we're going to walk that right foot all the way up to the top. So drop your back knee, and we're going to heel toe that right foot over to the edge of the mat, bringing your hands to the inside of that foot. Lizard pose. So stretching that left psoas here, that left hip flexor, even getting into the right hip. But we're here because the psoas, this left hip here, is actually connected to the low back. So that can cause a bit of pain in the low back when that hip flexor is really tight. So we're just going to give it a nice stretch. Awesome, you guys. So all you need to do here is just think about sending your hips down and forward. Again, not taking this too far. If you did want to find your forearms, you could, but again, just trying to keep your spine long wherever you are. Awesome work, you guys. So a little counter pose. We're just going to bring that foot to the middle of the mat again and send the hips backwards just for a hamstring stretch. So keeping your spine nice and long, so you might find your fingertips here. Straightening that front leg, little half splits. Awesome work, you guys. So you can start to bend back into the front knee. Plant your hands. We're going to find downward facing dog just to transition to the other side. So whenever you're ready, you can start to walk or step that left foot all the way up, dropping the back knee, and then starting to scooch that left foot over to the side of your mat. Hands are on the inside of that foot again, getting into that psoas, that right hip flexor. But as well, we're getting some love in that left leg, of course. Awesome work, you guys. Just stay for another breath. Letting those hips fall towards the mat, and then you can start to bring that foot to the middle and send the hips backwards. Just a little counter pose, counter stretch, getting into that hamstring and just releasing those hips. I'm not trying to fold too far in this one. We're just going to stay with that chest nice and proud. Awesome work, you guys. So starting to bend back into that front knee. We're going to plant our hands and step back into downward facing dog. Taking a deep breath here. And then dropping your knees all the way down onto the mat. So we're going to stand on our knees. So come on up. We're going to tuck our toes under. So the balls of the feet or the toes are pushing into the mat. So a little bit of back bend here, camel pose. So you're just going to take your hands and rest them on your low back. These hands on your low back, your hands, are going to just support you. So you're going to start to push the hips forward a little bit. I want you to think about pulling the shoulders up towards the ceiling and then a little bit back and down. So lifting the chest, you can start to shift your gaze up to the ceiling. Just feeling your breath. Nice and proud through the chest. Imagine you're really tall here instead of just falling back. You're lifting up and then back. Awesome work, you guys. So start to bring your hips back. We're going to sit on our heels for a moment. You could untuck your toes if you want it. We're just going to take a quick break and then we're going to go back up into our camel. So whenever you're ready, lift the hips off of the heels. A little different this time, you guys. We're going to reach our arms up. Reach, reach, reach for the ceiling. Your right hand is going to drop down towards your right heel. So once you're there, hips are coming forward and you're reaching up with those left fingertips. Look up if you can. Breathing, balancing. Awesome job, you guys. Stay here for another 3 breaths. And then with an inhale, start to lift back up. That left hand can come down. We're going to take a moment sitting on our heels just to take a second before we go to the other side. So you can wiggle out if you need to wiggle out. And then we're going to come back up. So last pose here for camel. Last camel pose today. So inhale, reach up. Exhale, those left fingertips, left hand coming down towards that left heel. Reach, reach, reach with those right fingertips. Breathe, hips are pushing forward a bit. So good, you guys. Settle in. Feeling your breath. Staying for another 3 breaths if you've got it. And with an inhale, starting to lift back up. So we're going to bring our hands down, untuck your toes, bringing your knees out nice and wide, taking child's pose. I recommend resting your arms beside you. Just turning the palms to face up, and you can rest a cheek or your forehead down. Bringing those hips nice and low. So you can stay here a little bit longer if you would like, or start to bring your hands under your shoulders, lift on up. We're going to have a seat. So bringing your legs out in front, we're going to start by bending our knees. You're going to take an inhale to really lengthen through your spine. And as you exhale, you're going to start to tip forward from your hips, but I want you to keep your chest nice and proud. So again, kind of like when we were standing up in our forward fold, I want you to see if you can bring your chest, your tummy, to touch the top of your legs. So you can rest your arms wherever's comfy. But keeping a nice long spine here, and then just let your head be heavy. And then if you wanted to potentially take this further, I want you to make sure that your chest and your tummy are still touching the top of your legs. Keeping that nice long spine, letting the head be heavy. Awesome job, you guys. Start to lift yourself back up. Inhale, lengthen, sit tall. And exhale, relax. So we're going to lay down onto our backs. Lay all the way down. Planting your feet. Lifting your hips up and just sliding them over to the right side of your mat a bit. And then the knees are going to come over to the left. So you can stack your knees on top of each other, but just adjust your shoulders so they're down, they're planted, and maybe extending your arms out to either side of you. Just feeling this twist all through the spine. If you want a little bit more, you could take your left hand and just rest them on top of your knees to keep them down. You could even look over to the right. And then with your next inhale, you can start to lift your knees up. Slide your hips over to the left side, and then the knees are going to fall over to the right. And just adjusting the shoulders so they're down, they're planted. Letting the eyes close once you're settled. Awesome, you guys. Use an inhale to lift your knees back up, I should say. Feet can stay planted, a little windshield wiper movement with the knees, or you could pick the knees up into the chest and then rock side to side. Just massaging the spine and the low back a bit here. Awesome, you guys. You're feeling good. Just letting your legs go up nice and long. On your mat, spreading your feet hip width apart. Take your arms, rest them beside you with your palms facing up. And just starting to soften your entire body. Just noticing how good you feel right now. How nice and strong your breath is. And just setting up for Shavasana, our final relaxation. And just bringing some softness to the jaw. If you're clenching the teeth, just separate them. And feel free to stay here as long as you would like, you guys. Have a really awesome day and a great weekend. Until we practice with each other again. Namaste.